Minji wiped the sweat from her face and looked at the mining drill in her hands. The machine was hot and heavy, but it worked well. She had fixed it 3 times this week already. That was her job on the asteroid Kepler 44 to be. When machines broke, she fixed them. When they needed changes, she made them better. The asteroid was not a pretty place. It was all grey rock and metal. No trees, no sky, no birds, just endless tunnels and the sound of drilling machines. But Mingi did not mind. She liked solving problems. She liked making things work. "Hey Mingi," called Doyeon from across the tunnel. He was her best friend here. They had worked together for 2 years. The big drill in Section 7 is making that bad noise again. Mingi smiled. The same noise as last time. Yes, the screaming sound. "I will look at it after lunch," she said. She knew what was wrong. The drill needed new parts, but they would not get new parts for another month. So, she would have to make the old parts work longer. She was good at that. The mining colony had 50 people. They all lived in small metal rooms and ate food from cans. It was not exciting, but it was honest work. The company paid them well to dig rare metals from the asteroid. The metals would go to Earth and other planets to make computers and ships. Min-ji put down her drill and walked to the main tunnel. She wanted to check the air system before lunch. The air system was very important. If it broke, everyone would die. She always checked it twice a day. As she walked, she heard a sound that did not belong. It was not the sound of drilling or machines. It was something else. Something that made her stop and listen. The sound came again. It was like metal tearing, but worse. "What is that?" she said to herself. Then the lights went out. Emergency lights came on, making everything red. An alarm started to ring. Minji had never heard this alarm before. It was not the alarm for broken machines or bad air. This was different. This alarm meant danger from outside. Minji ran toward the main control room. She needed to find out what was happening. Her feet made loud sounds on the metal floor. Other workers were running too. Everyone looked scared. Mingi Doyeon ran up to her. His face was white. "Something big hit the colony. Something from space. A rock?" she asked. "Sometimes big rocks hit the asteroid." "No, not a rock. It has lights. And it is moving." Mingi felt cold inside. A ship. Someone had come to their asteroid. But who, and why? They reached the control room. 5 other workers were already there, looking at the screens. The screens showed the outside of the colony. Minji looked and saw something that made her heart stop. A huge black ship sat on the asteroid near their colony. The ship was bigger than their whole mining base. It had sharp edges and red lights. It looked like it was made for war. "Who are?" they asked Hyjin, the colony doctor. "I do not know," said Taiwan, the boss. "But they are not from Earth. Look at the ship design. I have never seen anything like it." As they watched, part of the black ship opened. Things came out. At first, Mingi thought they were people in strange suits. But then she saw them better. They were not people. They walked on 2 legs like people, but they were taller, much taller. Their skin looked like it was made of green scales. They had long tails and claws instead of fingers. Their heads were like the heads of big lizards. "Aliens," whispered Ji-won, a young miner. "Real aliens." The creatures carried weapons. The weapons were long and silver and made bright flashes. The creatures moved fast, toward the colony doors. "We need to call for help," said Taiwan. He ran to the communication system. But when he turned it on, nothing happened. "They broke our communication. We cannot call anyone." The colony shook. The aliens were breaking down the doors. "Everyone. Stay calm," said Taiwan, but his voice was shaking. "Maybe they just want to talk." Mingi did not think so. She looked at the weapons the aliens carried. She looked at their sharp claws. These creatures were not here to talk. "We need to hide," she said, "or fight." "Fight?" Doyeon looked at her like she was crazy. "With what?" "We have mining tools. They have real weapons. Then we hide. There are many tunnels in the asteroid. We can." The main door exploded. Pieces of metal flew everywhere. 3 aliens walked into the control room. They were even bigger up close. The biggest one was almost 8 feet tall. Its eyes were yellow and cold. The aliens said something in a language Mingy did not know. It sounded like angry snakes. "We do not understand," said Taiwan. He held up his hands to show he had no weapons. "We are just miners. We do not want trouble." The biggest alien pulled out a small device. It pressed something on the device. Then it spoke again, but now in English. "You are prisoners now," the alien said. Its voice was deep and scary. "Some of you will come with us. Others will die here." "Why?" asked Haijin. "What do you want from us?" The alien looked at her with its yellow eyes. Entertainment. Minji did not like that word. Entertainment could mean many bad things. "I am Commander Vexler," the alien said. "You will do what I say, or you will die now instead of later." One of the miners, an old man named Sung Ho, tried to run. The alien pointed its weapon at him and fired. A bright light hit Sung Ho. He fell down and did not move again. "Anyone else want to run?" asked Commander Vexler. Nobody moved. "Good, now listen. We take the young ones, the strong ones. The rest stay here and die when the air runs out." Minji felt angry. These creatures had come to their home and were taking people like they were things, not human beings. But she also felt smart. She was always good at solving problems. Maybe she could solve this problem too. She looked around the room. There were 8 humans and 3 aliens. The aliens had better weapons, but the humans knew the colony better. Maybe there was a way. Commander Vexler pointed at Minji, Doyun, Haijin, Juwon, and 2 other young miners. "You 6, come with us. Where are you taking us?" asked Mingy. The alien smiled. It had many sharp teeth. "To the arena. If you are lucky, you will live long enough to entertain many people before you die." Mingy felt her blood turn cold, but she also felt something else. She felt determined. She was an engineer. She fixed things that were broken, and if these aliens thought humans were easy to break, they were about to learn something new. "Move now," said Commander Vexler, "or join your friend on the floor." Minji looked at Doyon. He was scared, but he nodded at her. They would go with the aliens for now, but Minji was already thinking, already planning. These aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans were weak. They were about to find out how wrong they were. The alien ship was cold and dark inside. Minji sat on the metal floor with her hands tied behind her back. Doyon was next to her. His face was pale and his hands were shaking. "Are you okay?" she whispered. "No," he said. "I am not okay. They killed Sang. They took us from our home. Nothing is okay." Minji looked around the ship. The walls were black metal with strange symbols carved into them. Red lights blinked in patterns she did not understand. Everything smelled like oil and something else, something that reminded her of dead animals. Heijin sat across from them. She was the colony doctor, a smart woman who always stayed calm. But now she looked scared too. "Where do you think they are taking us?" Heijin asked quietly. Commander Vexler said something about an arena, Minji said. "For entertainment. Like gladiators," said Guan. He was only 20 years old, the youngest worker on the colony. "Like in old movies, people fighting animals for crowds to watch." "That is just movies," said Doyun. "This is real life." "This is real life for them," said Mingy. "These aliens, they take people from other planets and make them fight." The thought made her sick, but it also made her angry. And when Minji got angry, she started thinking harder. The ship flew for many hours. Then it landed with a big shake. The aliens came and untied their hands. Commander Vexler looked down at them with his yellow eyes. "Welcome to Corvash," he said. "Your new home. If you are very lucky, you might live here for a few months before you die." The ship doors opened. Hot air came in. It smelled like dust and metal and something burning. Outside was a world Minji had never imagined. The sky was orange and full of smoke. There were no plants or trees anywhere. just grey dirt and big metal buildings. In the distance, she could see a huge wall that went around everything like a giant circle. "Move," said one of the alien guards. He pushed Mingy forward with his clawed hand. They walked across the dusty ground toward the biggest building. It was made of black metal and had no windows. Other aliens walked around with weapons. Some of them looked at the humans and made sounds like laughing, but colder. "Fresh meat," one alien said in English. "These ones look weak." "All the better," said another. "Weak ones die fast. Fast deaths are boring. Boring is bad for business." Mingy did not like being called meat. She was not meat. She was a person who could think and solve problems and fix things. She would show them that humans were not weak. The building had many levels underground. They took the humans down through metal hallways lit by red lights. Finally, they reached a big room full of cages. But the cages were not empty. In one cage was something that looked like a giant bug standing on 2 legs. It had 4 arms and big black eyes. In another cage was a creature made of what looked like living light. It glowed blue and changed shape as Mingy watched. "So many different species," whispered Hi. "All prisoners," said Mingy, "just like us." The aliens pushed the humans into an empty cage. The cage was big enough for 10 people, but it only had 4 metal beds and 1 bucket for water. The floor was dirty metal, covered with old straw. "This is where you live now?" said Commander Vexler. "Tomorrow you start training? In 1 week, you fight. If you win, you live another day. If you lose, you die. Simple." "What if we refuse to fight?" asked Duhaon. Commander Vexler smiled his sharp-toothed smile. "Then you die anyway, but slower and with more pain." The aliens left them alone in the cage. Mingy sat on one of the metal beds and looked around. She could see other prisoners in the cages near them. Most looked scared. Some looked angry. A few looked like they had given up hope. "Mingy," said a voice from the next cage. She turned and saw a man, a human man. He looked older than her, maybe 30. His face was covered with scars and his left arm was in a rough bandage. "You are human?" she asked. "Yes, my name is Taeyeon. I have been here for 4 months. 4 months, Jiwon looked shocked. "You have been fighting for 4 months. Every week, sometimes twice a week if the crowds want extra shows." Taeyeon moved closer to the bars between their cages. "Where are you from?" "Kepler 4 for 2B. "Mining colony," said Mingy. "Never heard of it. I am from New Sol colony in the Vega system. They took my whole family." His voice got quiet. "I am the only one left." Mingy felt cold inside. The others died. Some died in the arena. Others died here from their wounds. This place kills people slowly, even if the fighting does not kill them fast. "How do you survive?" asked Haijin. Taeyeon looked at her with tired eyes. "You learn to fight. You learn to think fast. You learn to use whatever you can find as a weapon, and you get lucky. Very, very lucky." "What kinds of things do they make you fight?" asked Mingy. "Animals, aliens, beasts from different worlds. Sometimes other prisoners." He pointed to a cage across the room. "See that creature with the red fur? That is a Corvash firewolf. It can burn you just by touching you. I fought one last month." "How did you win?" "I did not fight it directly. I used the arena itself against it. The arena has water systems for cleaning blood after fights. I broke a water pipe and used the water to stop the fire." Mingy nodded. "That was smart. Thinking, use the environment. Use what the enemy does not expect." "Tell me more about the arena," she said. For the next hour, Taeyeon told them everything he knew. The arena was huge, big enough for thousands of aliens to watch. It had different sections with different dangers. Sometimes there were pits full of acid. Sometimes there were moving walls with spikes. Sometimes there were energy fields that could burn you. "The aliens love creativity," Taeyeon said. "If you just try to punch and kick, you die fast. But if you do something unexpected, something clever, the crowd likes it. If the crowd likes it, you live longer." "What is the worst thing you have fought?" asked Do-yeon. Tyon was quiet for a long time. There is something they call the Ravenclaw beast. It is their champion, their perfect killer. No one has ever beaten it. When they decide you have entertained them enough, they put you against the Ravenclaw beast, and then you die. What does it look like? Asked Minji. Like a nightmare. 12 feet tall, black skin, like armor, claws that can cut through metal, and fast, faster than anything should be. Has anyone ever hurt it? A few people have made it bleed, but that just made it angry. Taeyeon looked directly at Mingi. Why do you ask so many questions about fighting? You are an engineer, right? Engineers think. They do not fight. Mingi smiled for the first time since leaving her colony. Engineers solve problems. This whole place is just a very big, very dangerous problem, and I am very good at solving problems. That night, as the others tried to sleep on the hard metal beds, Minji stayed awake. She listened to the sounds of the prison. She looked at the cage bars and studied how they were made. She watched the guard patterns as aliens walked past their cage. In her mind, she started building blueprints. Not blueprints for machines, but blueprints for survival, for escape, for fighting back. The aliens thought they had captured some weak humans to throw away for entertainment. But Mingi was not weak. She was smart, she was determined, and she was already planning. Tomorrow they would start training her to fight in their arena. They would try to break her spirit and make her afraid. They did not know that they had just given a human engineer access to their most important facility. They did not know that humans were very good at studying systems and finding ways to break them. They were about to learn something new about her species. Humans did not just survive, they adapted, they overcame. They turned their enemy's strengths into weaknesses, and sometimes, they won. The arena was bigger than anything Minji had ever seen. It was like a giant bowl carved into the ground, with seats going up and up, until they disappeared in the orange sky. Thousands of aliens sat in those seats, making loud noises and waving their clawed hands. Minji stood in the center of the arena floor. The floor was covered with sand, but she could see dark stains in the sand. Old blood from other fights. From other prisoners who had died here. Across from her, something growled. It was called a tunnel ripper. According to the guards, it looked like a giant mole, but with metal teeth and claws that sparked when they hit the ground. It was twice as tall as Mingi, and 4 times as heavy. The crowd of aliens was chanting something in their language. They wanted to see blood. They wanted to see the small human get torn apart by their monster. Fight, shouted the voice from the speakers around the arena. The tunnel ripper charged at her, moving faster than something that big should move. Its metal claws dug deep lines in the arena floor. Minji did not run. Instead, she looked up. Above the arena floor, she could see the gravity field generators. They were what kept the loose sand on the floor instead of floating away. Every arena had them. They were usually set to normal gravity, 1 times Earth normal. But Minji was an engineer. She knew how gravity generators worked. As the tunnel ripper got closer, she pulled out a small piece of metal she had hidden in her clothes. It was part of a broken tool from the prison. She had sharpened it and bent it into the right shape. When the monster was only 10 feet away, Mingi threw the metal piece at one of the gravity generators above them. The piece hit the generator's control panel perfectly. Sparks flew. The gravity field changed. Suddenly, the tunnel ripper was moving through sand that felt like deep water. The heavy creature slowed down, confused. Its metal claws could not get a good grip on the loose sand anymore. But Minji was lighter. The changed gravity affected her less. She moved to the side and picked up a handful of the loose sand. Then, she threw it right into the creature's eyes. The tunnel ripper roared and shook its head, trying to clear its vision. While it was blind, Mingi grabbed a sharp piece of broken stone from the arena wall. She jumped onto the creature's back and drove the stone deep into the soft spot behind its head. The creature fell down and stopped moving. The crowd went quiet. Then they started making noise again, but different noise. Excited noise. Minji looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at her. She had won her first arena fight, but she knew this was just the beginning. Over the next 2 months, Minji fought many times. Each fight was different. Each fight taught her something new about the arena and about her enemies. She fought the acid spitters, giant snakes that could melt metal with their spit. Minji used the arena's drainage system to flood the floor with water, diluting the acid. Until it was harmless, she fought the phase hunters, creatures that could turn invisible and walk through walls. But they could not walk through electricity. Mingi broke the arena's lighting system and used the electric wires to create a fence. They could not cross. She fought the steel fangs, pack animals with razor-sharp teeth. But pack animals needed to communicate. Minji used the arena's sound system against them, creating loud feedback that hurt their sensitive ears and broke up their group attacks. After each fight, more aliens came to watch her. They started calling her the human engineer in their language. Some of them hated her for beating their monsters, but others were fascinated by her strange fighting style. In her cell between fights, Taeyeon helped her plan. "You are getting famous," he told her after her 8th victory. "That is good and bad." "Why bad?" asked Mingi. "Famous fighters get harder opponents, and eventually, they get the Ravenclaw beast." Minji had been thinking about the Ravenclaw beast every night. She asked every prisoner she could find about it, but no one could tell her much, because no one who fought it ever lived to tell the story. "There must be records," she said. "Videos of the fights." "The aliens keep those secret," said Taeyeon. "Only the arena masters can see them." But Mingi had an idea about that too. During her next fight against a creature called a bone crusher, she did something different. Instead of just winning quickly, she put on a show. She dodged and rolled and made the fight last longer. She made it look more exciting. The crowd loved it. They cheered louder than ever before. After the fight, something new happened. Instead of guards taking her back to her cell, a different alien came to see her. This alien wore fancy clothes and gold jewelry. His scales were brighter green than the others. "I am Arena Master Kethfa," he said in perfect English. "You fight very creatively." "I fight to live," said Mingi. "Yes, but you also fight to entertain. That is rare. Most prisoners just try not to die." "You try to give the crowd what they want." Minji nodded. She was learning to use the aliens' own desires against them. "I have a special opportunity for you," said Arena Master Kethfa. "A private fight. Very wealthy aliens want to see you fight something special. If you win, you get better food, better medical care, better living conditions." "What do I fight?" The Arena Master smiled his sharp smile. "A Wraith Stalker. They can phase in and out of solid matter. Very dangerous, very entertaining when they kill someone," Mingi thought fast. A private fight meant fewer people watching. It also meant she might be able to see things the public was not allowed to see. "I accept," she said. 3 days later, she was brought to a smaller arena, deep under the main building. Only 20 aliens sat in the watching area. These aliens wore expensive clothes, and had servants bringing them food and drinks. But Minji was not looking at the aliens. She was looking at the walls of this private arena. And what she saw made her heart beat faster. On the walls were screens, showing old arena fights with the Ravenclaw beast, while she fought the Wraith Stalker. Using magnetic fields from the arena's equipment to track it even when it was invisible, she watched those screens. She studied every movement the beast made. She memorized its attack patterns. The Wraith Stalker was fast and dangerous, but Mingi barely paid attention to it. She was learning something much more important. The Ravenclaw beast was not just a natural creature. She could see wires and metal parts under its skin. It was enhanced, modified. The aliens had been cheating. When she finally killed the Wraith Stalker by trapping it inside a magnetic field until it suffocated, the wealthy aliens cheered. But Minji was thinking about something else entirely. If the beast was enhanced with technology, then it had weaknesses. All technology had weaknesses, and Minji was very good at finding weaknesses in technology. That night in her cell, she told Taeyeon what she had learned. "They have been lying," she said. "The Ravenclaw beast is not their perfect natural predator. It is a machine as much as it is an animal. Does that help us? Asked Oyeon, who had been listening. Minji smiled. For the first time since being captured, she felt hope. It helps me, she said. Because I know how to break machines. The next morning, Arena Master Kethva came to see her again. The crowd loves you, he said. They want to see your greatest performance yet. Minji looked at him calmly. The Ravenclaw Beast. Yes, 1 week from today. The grand exhibition. 2 million aliens will watch you die gloriously. Or watch me win, said Mingi. Arena Master Kethva laughed. No one wins against the Ravenclaw Beast, but you will put on a good show before you die. That is enough. He left, still laughing. But Minji was not afraid anymore. She had 1 week to prepare, 1 week to plan, 1 week to figure out how to destroy a monster that had never been beaten. She was an engineer, and she had just been given the biggest problem of her life to solve. Minji had 6 days left to live. At least, that is what everyone believed. She sat in her cell, drawing pictures in the dirt on the floor. To the guards, it looked like she was just making random marks, but Minji was drawing the arena. Every detail. She could remember. Every wire, every generator, every weak point in the systems. What are you doing? Asked Taeyeon from the next cell. Making a map, said Mingi quietly. The arena has patterns. Everything is connected. She drew lines showing where the power flowed. She marked where the gravity generators were mounted. She showed where the sound systems had speakers and where the water drainage went. Even if you find a weakness, whispered Hyjin, the beast has never lost. Maybe it cannot be beaten. Everything can be beaten, said Minji. Every system has a breaking point. I just need to find it. That night, something unexpected happened. A new prisoner was brought to their section. It was another human, but this one was different. He was older, maybe 50, with grey hair and smart eyes. The guards threw him into the cell next to Taeyeon. What is your name? Minji asked through the bars. Minho, he said. I was an engineer on the transport ship Horizon. They took me 3 days ago. Mingi felt her heart jump. Another engineer? What kind of engineer? She asked. Systems, power grids, life support, ship computers. I worked on everything. Minho looked around at the other prisoners. You are the famous human fighter, yes. The one who beats their monsters with tricks. I beat them with thinking, said Mingi. What do you know about cybernetic implants? Minho raised an eyebrow. Quite a lot. Why do you ask? Minji told him about the Ravenclaw beast, about the wires and metal parts she had seen in the video, about her theory that the creature was enhanced with technology. Interesting, said Minho. If it has cybernetic parts, then it has a control system. All cybernetic systems need a central processor to coordinate the enhancements. Where would that be? Asked Minji. Usually in the head or chest, somewhere protected by bone and muscle. Minho thought for a moment. But cybernetic systems also need power, and power systems generate heat. You could look for heat signatures. The arena has thermal sensors for tracking invisible creatures, said Minji. I saw them during my fight with the Wraithstalker. Then you might be able to see where the beast's cybernetic systems are hottest. That would tell you where the important parts are. Mingi smiled. Having another engineer to talk to was like finding water in a desert. Over the next 2 days, she and Minho worked together. They shared everything they knew about the arena's systems. They planned and drew diagrams and calculated power loads. But Minji also did something else. Something dangerous. She started talking to other prisoners. Not just the humans, but aliens, too. She learned that many of them hated the Valkyrie as much as she did. My people were peaceful, said Zek, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. The Valkyrie came to our world and took our children. I have been here for 2 years. I will never see my family again. They destroyed my colony ship, said Nira, who looked like a walking tree with silver leaves. 8,000 of my people died. They took 50 of us to fight here. Minji began to understand something important. The arena was not just about entertainment for the Valkyrie, it was about power. About showing other species that they were weak and the Valkyrie were strong. What if we could prove they were cheating? She asked the other prisoners one night when the guards were not listening. What if we could show everyone that their perfect beast was not natural? The crowd would not care, said Taeyeon. They just want to see death. But the other species would care, said Minji. All the aliens watching from their home worlds, if they knew the Valkyrie were lying about their strength, it might change things. She explained her idea. If she could expose the beast's cybernetic enhancements during the fight, it would be broadcast to millions of aliens across the galaxy. The Valkyrie would be shown as cheaters and liars. But you would still die, said Do-yeon. The beast would still kill you. Maybe, said Minji. Or maybe I can do both. Expose their lies and survive. How? Asked Haijin. Minji looked at her friends. These people who had become like family to her in this horrible place. They deserved to know the truth. I am not just planning to beat the beast, she said. I am planning to escape. All of us. The next day, she put her plan into action. During the daily exercise period, she talked to more prisoners. She found the ones who were strongest, smartest, and angriest. She told them about her plan to expose the Valkyries cheating during the grand exhibition. When the crowd sees the truth about their beast, there will be chaos, she said. Angry aliens, confused guards, systems breaking down. That is when we run. Run where? Asked a large reptilian alien named Tor. This is a prison planet. There is nowhere to go. There are ships, said Minji. The Valkyrie bring visitors from other worlds to watch the big fights. Those ships will be here for the grand exhibition. She had been watching the sky during her fights. She had seen ships coming and going. Rich aliens traveled here to watch the arena, and they came in fast. Expensive ships. We steal a ship during the chaos, she continued. We get off this planet. We spread the truth about what the Valkyrie are doing here. Some of the prisoners looked excited, others looked scared, but they all listened. That evening, Arena Master Kethvar came to see her again. Tomorrow is your big day, he said with his sharp smile. Are you ready to die for the entertainment of millions? I am ready to show everyone what humans can do, said Mingi. Humans can die. That is all they are good for. Kethvar laughed. The beast has been fed extra meat this week. It will be hungry and angry. Your death will be spectacular. After he left, Minji gathered her closest friends around her cell. Tomorrow, everything changes, she said. If my plan works, we go home. If it does not work, at least we die fighting instead of waiting. What do you need us to do? Asked Taeyeon. Mingi smiled. When you see the beast's cybernetic parts sparking and failing, when you hear the crowd getting angry, when you see the guards confused, that is when you move. Get to the landing area. Get to the ships, and get ready to leave this place forever. What? About you? Asked Do-yeon. How do we know you will survive the fight? You do not know, said Minji honestly, but I have studied that creature for weeks. I know its patterns. I know its weaknesses. And I know something the Valkyrie do not know. What is that? Asked Haijin. Humans do not give up, ever. They made me bleed in their arena, and they think, that makes me weak. But bleeding just makes me angry. And angry humans are very dangerous. She looked at each of her friends. Tomorrow, 20 seconds after that beast enters the arena, I am going to drag its carcass across the sand. And then we are all going home. That night, Minji did not sleep. She went over her plan again and again. She thought about every detail, every timing, every possible problem. She thought about her friends on the mining colony who had died. She thought about all the prisoners who had been killed in this arena. She thought about millions of people on thousands of worlds who lived in fear of the Valkyrie. Tomorrow, she would fight for all of them. Tomorrow, she would show the galaxy that humans were not victims. Tomorrow, she would prove that sometimes the small and the smart could beat the big and the strong. The Ravenclaw beast was about to learn what it meant to fight a human engineer who had nothing left to lose. The grand arena was full. 2 million aliens sat in the stands, making noise like thunder. Ships from 100 different worlds hung in the orange sky above, carrying the most powerful beings in the galaxy to watch a human die. Mingy stood in the center of the arena floor. Blood ran down her arm from a cut the guards had given her. They wanted the crowd to see her bleed before the fight even started. Above her, giant screens showed her face to every alien in the arena and to millions more watching from their home worlds. The Valkyrie wanted everyone to see what happened to species that resisted them. Arena Master Kethva's voice boomed from the speakers. Today, we show you the fate of all who challenge the Valkyrie Empire. Today, the human engineer faces our perfect predator. The crowd roared. They had been waiting for this moment. The strange human who won fights with tricks and cleverness was finally going to meet something she could not outsmart. "Release the Ravenclaw beast," shouted Kethva. A massive door opened on the far side of the arena. For a moment, nothing came out. Then Mingy heard it. Heavy footsteps. Breathing like wind through a cave. Claws scraping on metal. The beast stepped into the light. It was even bigger than the videos had shown. 12 feet tall, with skin like black armor and muscles that rippled under cybernetic implants. Its eyes glowed red with artificial enhancement. Its claws were longer than Mingy's arms and sharp enough to cut through steel. The crowd went quiet. Even they were afraid of this creature. The beast looked at Mingy and made a sound like breaking glass mixed with screaming. It was the sound of nightmares. But Mingy did not run. She did not shake. Instead, she smiled. "You are not perfect," she said quietly. Only the beast could hear her. "You are just a machine pretending to be a monster. And I know how to break machines." The beast charged. It moved faster than anything that big should move. Its claws left deep gouges in the arena floor. Its cybernetic enhancements made it stronger and quicker than any natural creature could be. But Mingy had been waiting for this moment. She had studied every video, memorized every movement, planned for every attack. As the beast ran toward her, she pulled a small device from her clothes. It looked like a broken piece of arena equipment, but she had modified it, changed it, made it into something new. When the beast was only 20 feet away, Mingy activated the device. High above the arena, the sound control systems suddenly changed frequency. Instead of carrying the crowd's cheers, they began broadcasting a very specific signal. A signal that interfered with cybernetic implants. The beast stumbled. Its red eyes flickered. The cybernetic enhancements that made it so fast and strong began to malfunction. Sparks flew from the metal parts under its skin. The crowd gasped. They had never seen the Ravenclaw beast hesitate before. Mingy did not waste the moment. She ran toward the beast, not away from it. In her other hand, she held a sharpened piece of metal she had prepared. But she was not aiming for the creature's claws or teeth. She was aiming for the heat signature Minho had told her about. The hotspot on the beast's chest, where its cybernetic control system was located. The beast tried to swipe at her with its massive claws, but its enhanced reflexes were failing. It moved too slowly. Mingy rolled under the attack and drove her makeshift weapon deep into the creature's chest. Sparks exploded from the wound. The beast roared in pain and confusion as its cybernetic systems began shutting down one by one. But Mingy was not finished. She grabbed onto the metal implants visible under the beast's skin and pulled hard. The cybernetic wires that enhanced the creature's muscles snapped and sparked. Without its artificial enhancements, the Ravenclaw beast was just a large animal. Strong, but not impossibly strong. Fast, but not supernaturally fast. And Mingy had been preparing for this fight for weeks. She used the arena's own gravity generators against the beast. Just like in her first fight, she used the water systems to short-circuit more of its implants. She used every trick she had learned in months of fighting. 20 seconds after the beast had entered the arena, it fell to the ground. Dead. The crowd was silent. Completely silent. Mingy stood over the creature's body, bleeding but alive. She looked up at the millions of aliens watching her and spoke loudly enough for the arena's microphones to pick up her words. Your perfect predator was a lie, she shouted. Look at these cybernetic implants. Look at these machines under its skin. The Valkyrie have been cheating. They enhanced their beast with technology and called it natural. She grabbed one of the sparking cybernetic wires and held it up for everyone to see. This is what the Valkyrie Empire really is. Liars, cheaters. They are not stronger than other species, they just have better technology. The crowd erupted, not in cheers, but in angry roars. Aliens from dozens of different worlds realized they had been watching a fake show. Their own species' champions had been fighting an artificially enhanced monster arena. Master Kethva's voice came over the speakers, trying to restore order, but it was too late. The crowd was furious. In the chaos, Minji saw her friends moving. Taeon led a group of human prisoners toward the arena exits. Other alien prisoners were breaking free from their holding areas. The guards were too busy trying to control the angry crowd to stop them. But Minji had one more thing to do. She walked to the center of the arena, where the main communication array was located. With her engineering knowledge, she quickly accessed the system that was broadcasting this fight across the galaxy. My name is Minji, she said into the microphone. I am a human engineer. The Valkyrie Empire took me from my home and forced me to fight for their entertainment. But I am not entertainment. I am a person. We are all people, and we will not be your slaves anymore. She looked directly at the main camera. To every species watching this, the Valkyrie are not invincible, they can be beaten. Their strength is an illusion built on lies and technology. If we work together, we can stop them. Security guards were running toward her now, but the other prisoners were fighting back. Humans, Zephyrians, Lumina, and dozens of other species were working together to escape. Find your courage, Mingi shouted as the guards got closer. Fight back. Be free. The transmission cut off as the guards reached her, but it was too late. Her message had been broadcast to millions of worlds across the galaxy. Later, as Mingi and her friends ran toward the landing area where ships waited, she could hear explosions behind them. The crowd had turned into a riot. Alien visitors were demanding answers from their Valkyrie hosts. The entire arena complex was in chaos. They reached the ships and found one that was fast and lightly guarded. Minho quickly broke into the computer systems while the others fought off the few security guards. Got it, he shouted. Everyone get in. As their stolen ship lifted off from the burning arena complex, Minji looked back at the place where she had been a prisoner. Smoke rose from dozens of fires. Other ships were leaving too, some carrying escaping prisoners, others carrying angry alien dignitaries who would spread word of Valkyrie deception across the galaxy. Where do we go now? asked Duhyan. Minji smiled. Home, we go home. And then we tell everyone what happened here. We tell them that the Valkyrie can be beaten. What if they do not believe us? asked Hyjin. They will believe us, said Mingi, because we have proof, and because now they know the truth. She looked at the recording device she had taken from the arena. It contained video of the beast's cybernetic implants. Evidence of Valkyrie cheating, that could not be denied. The Valkyrie made me bleed in their arena, she said quietly. They thought that would break me. But it just made me stronger. It made me angry. And angry humans changed the galaxy. 6 months later, Minji stood on the bridge of a human warship as it approached Thalos Prime. She was no longer a prisoner, or a gladiator. She was Admiral Mingi, leader of the Human Liberation Fleet. Behind her ship flew vessels from 50 different species, all united by the message she had broadcast from the arena, all determined to end Valkyrie tyranny. The grand arena still stood on the planet below, but it was empty now. No more prisoners fought for alien entertainment. The Valkyrie Empire was collapsing as world after world rebelled against their rule. Admiral, said her communications officer, we are receiving a surrender request from the planet. Mingi nodded. Accept their surrender, but I want to visit that arena one more time. An hour later, she walked across the same sand where she had nearly died. But now she wore the uniform of a free human. Now she carried the flag of the United Species Alliance. She stood in the center of the arena and spoke to the cameras that would broadcast her words across the galaxy. This place was built to show that some species were weak and others were strong. But strength is not about size or claws or technology. Strength is about courage, about never giving up, about fighting for what is right. She looked up at the empty stands where millions of aliens had once cheered for death. We are all free now. Not because we were always strong, but because we chose to be strong together. Because when they made us bleed, we did not break. We got up, we fought back, and we won. The arena that had been built to celebrate the power of the strong had become a symbol of the courage of the weak. And in 20 seconds, one human engineer had changed the fate of the galaxy forever.